the same thing would happen within capitalism, that capitalism is producing its own grave diggers in the working class, the people who must, must work in order to essentially survive, and survive in order to work, and all they have to sell is their labor power, and this is particularly within industrial Europe. And so you find a situation whereby he thought, or at least they thought, that inevitably we're going to have a larger working class that's going to become conscious. Now, that consciousness was not going to come automatically, but there would be a bit of mobilization. Class consciousness would be mobilized for people to see that the system depends on them, much as they're not the ones who are appropriating most of the gains. And then that would eventually result in the overthrow of capitalism and the replacement of that system with socialism, right? But then Gramsci comes in to say that it's not that it's just going to inevitably happen. There's a challenge, and that is that, and that goes back to something that Marx himself said, that in every epoch, he says the ruling ideas are the ideas of the ruling class. So we have
common sense.
That's the common sense, right? We have a base, of how we produce and how we arrange ourselves around the production process. For example, in the capitalist world that we exist in today, the people who run the system, the people who dictate what the main ideas of the day are the people who are running, production, the capitalists, the moneyed and the propertied classes, who then dictate their own values and understandings of issues on the rest of society, right? And the problem that Gramsci noted is that those values become very entrenched. Now, Marx, in his system with Engels, if you read, I think, the Critique to Political Economy, they said that at every part, society enters into definite relations. Yes, it says that births a social consciousness that, determines our existence. But the insight was that we have a base, and that's the economic one, right, of how production is arranged. And then that results in a superstructure of thought. So in a communalistic system, for example, you have the values that we'll have will be community-centered values. We appropriate communally. We do everything collectively, socially, produce socially, and we appropriate the products of our gains socially. In a capitalist system, you find out that production is social, in that it's the workers doing it, but then the appropriation of the gains of production are not social, right? It's the dominant class of, capitalists that appropriate that. And so they then, going back and just, I'll leave it here, going back to what you're saying, they then make their values, the values that undergird the capitalist system, appear to be natural. And so Gramsci's contention was that we're not going to wait that